So I tried my hardest to forget about this experience and move on and continue being straight, and I just couldn't. My very first experience with a boy was scary and uncomfortable, and I'm going to tell you guys why. So let me give you some backstory to start. During this time in my life, I was 15 years old and I was living at home with my dad. It was just him and I living at my house because my sister had moved out and he was divorced with my mom, so it was just my dad, my dog, and me. I was living a pretty good life. I was getting good grades and doing well in school, working a job, and so my dad actually invited me to go to the Outer Banks with him. And at first I was like, I don't know, that seems kind of boring and just not fun, but I needed a vacation and I really wanted to get out of my town. And it was for 7 days, so why not? So I took him up on his offer, and one of the things that stood out to me about this vacation was that it took abnormally long to get to the Outer Banks this time. I had been in previous years and it hadn't taken this long. It took us 8 hours to get there, and there was a severe thunderstorm and rainstorm that we were driving through the majority of the time, and it was just kind of a precursor to how the vacation was going to go. I guess in hindsight I can see that now, but I just thought, whatever, it's traffic and a rainstorm. So shortly after getting to the beach house, I realized that there was no cell phone service, and the only cell phone service was at the beach. So we did a lot of watching TV, listening to music, playing board games a couple nights. There was a grill outside. I think there was even a volleyball net or a badminton net, something like that my dad and I were playing. But there were also bicycles, which we did a lot of bike riding. So overall, it was actually really nice that there wasn't cell phone service at the beach house because it forced us to be active and to be actual people again. So we actually spent every single day at the beach. We'd wake up, make some breakfast, and then head to the beach at like 9 or 10 a.m. And then we'd spend pretty much all day there until like 4 or 5. And mind you guys, I was a 15-year-old angsty teenager that was kind of trying to discover myself and find out who I really am. So I noticed that there was a group of guys that were staying next to us at the beach, like probably 200 feet away. Not too close, but also not too far. I still noticed them and I would hear them and like kind of see what they were doing. And that sounds so creepy, but I noticed a particular guy that was with this group of people, and it was only a small group of people. It was like 4 or 5 people. So I noticed this guy in particular, and he looked like he was straight out of a Men's Health magazine. He was beautiful, and I couldn't even see really what his face looked like, but all I remember was that he would always have on a trucker hat, he would have on short shorts, and he would usually be up doing something while all his friends were sitting down and like playing on their phones and stuff. So I began to like stare at this guy and kind of look forward to seeing him every single day because, again, we didn't have cell phone service at the beach house. There wasn't anything to distract me or like get my mind off of that. And he was probably the most attractive person I'd ever seen in my life at the time. I was so attracted to him, I couldn't keep my eyes off of him. So I was looking forward to seeing him every day, as weird as that sounds. So on the 3rd day at the beach, I finally got the courage to go up and talk to this guy. Mind you, he was like 25 and I was 15, and I did not know that. I was just bored because my dad fell asleep in his beach chair and I didn't just want to sit there. And he looked kind of bored too. And I had a frisbee, so why not? So I asked him if he wanted to play frisbee in a cool way, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we spent like 15 to 20 minutes playing frisbee, and it was fun. It wasn't weird or anything. I didn't flirt with him, and it just didn't turn into anything. I think his name was something with a J, but I can't remember exactly what his name was. But we kind of split ways, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna go up and get some food. Thanks, man, it was fun playing with you. It was something like that he said, and I just felt like, oh, I was hoping to hang out with him longer. But I was proud of myself at the same time that I did that, and I wasn't weird about it, and it was cool. But I realized that he was older than me and that he probably wasn't into guys. So Story of my life, but let's keep moving with the story. After this, my dad was still asleep in the beach chair, and I was bored, and I had my earphones, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for a walk. So I put my earphones in and ended up walking up the beach like probably 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I was like, I think I'm gonna turn around now. So I literally just turned around, and there was a guy standing behind me, my age. And if you guys don't know, the Outer Banks is a lot of the beaches are very desolate, and the people are very near and far. So it's not like other beaches where there's crowds everywhere and it could just be anybody. There was literally no groups of people on this portion of the beach behind me, and it was almost like this boy, because he was my age, was just like beamed down. It was like from a spaceship. I know that sounds crazy, but I just want to also say that during this time, I had been wanting so badly to meet another boy to experiment with and like mess around with, especially since I didn't live in that town and I wasn't gonna have to worry about it coming back to bite me. So I almost think that I manifested what happened next in a way, but let me keep going on with it. So I turned around and I started talking to this guy, and I was like, hi, how's it going? Because he was just staring at me. And he was like, hey, how are you? I like that song. And I was also kind of singing because I thought there was nobody around, and I'm not going to sing with my earphones in if I know there's people around me. But anyway, so he was like, oh, I like that song, and we started talking more about it. So he told me that his family was here too, and I didn't see his family anywhere. And I was like, where are they? He was like, oh, over there. And he was just pointing with his hand to like nowhere. There's nobody over there. A lot about this story, guys, fades in and out of my memory, so it's hard for me to remember every exact detail. But I find that really weird because I don't have anything else like this in my life that kind of fades in and out of my consciousness. Anyway, so I asked him if he wanted to ride bikes together, and he was like, yeah. So we walked back to the beach house, and the other bike that I was gonna let him use had a flat tire. So I kind of just gave up that idea. And at this time I wanted to go back and meet up with my dad and see like what he was doing and, you know, what we were doing for dinner and everything. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna walk back to the beach. I gave him my number. He didn't have a cell phone, just kind of weird. As soon as I was saying bye to him and we were walking through the bushes just before we got back to the beach, he pulled me close to him, like kind of not forcefully, but like he didn't want to let go of me. Like I had never experienced that before, so I was like, whoa, automatic reaction, whoa. And then he like tried to kiss me, and I was like, whoa. And he was just looking at me, and he was like, don't leave. And then I went in and kissed him back, and then after that we walked into the bushes, and one thing led to another, and I ended up owing him. And after that happened, which it only lasted like 5 minutes, I felt so disgusted with myself. I ran back to the beach house, ran straight to the shower, turned the water on hot, spent like an hour in the shower, just crying, and I felt like so embarrassed. I felt like God hated me. I felt like my dead relatives were frowning upon me, and I just felt so gross, and I felt like I wanted to curl up in a ball and go away. My first ever experience with a boy is not particularly positive, especially since I don't remember this boy's name. I don't remember like where he's from. I don't remember anything about him other than what he looked like. All I remember about this boy is that he was a little bit tanner than me, he had dark hair, and he was wearing a purple shirt. That's literally all I remember. And like I said, guys, this memory fades in and out of my consciousness. So sometimes in the most random times, this memory will come back. And that's why I'm making this video, because I was doing something recently and this came into my mind, and I'm like, wait, I need to talk about this because this is crazy. And it's almost like I manifested this in my life because I wanted it that bad. And it's kind of like a life lesson where if you want something bad enough, it will happen. It will definitely happen. Like if you want something in your core and it's just on your mind all the time, you are capable of bringing things into your life. You just have to want them. So I kept this hidden from my dad. He asked where I was for 2 hours, and I was like, oh, I just went down the beach and then I rode my bike around, and he didn't ask me anything more about it. But I was just really embarrassed by the entire situation. I didn't want anybody to know, so I just kept living my life after it. So I tried my hardest to forget about this experience and move on and continue being straight, and I just couldn't. Months later, my curiosity came back and I met another guy, but this time it was online for the very first time. So that will be the next video. Overall, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was kind of hard to make because I had to really dive back into my memory and, unlock some things that I've kept hidden away for a while. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.